tuned in to a Grown Folks production.
In the mix
With the Commish, Nate.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday afternoon. I am coming to you late because life just did not allow me to stream yesterday. I was busy working and trying to get some things done. It was a busy break for me, but here we are. We are back and we're talking OMFL. It's time to turn the corner here. Start talking about the playoffs. They're right around the corner, and before you know it, we're going to be there looking at who's in, who's not, who made it, who fell away, and I can tell you, my Saints were already out of it, so who cares? No, I care. We're going to talk about it. Let's start first, Week 12, 13, and 14 for some quick updates before we turn the corner and look at the playoffs. New England and Lost Sniper beat Jake Glaze 34-23, and a big win there for Lost Sniper. Bill and the New York Giants beat Roger and the Texans 35-14. Nipples continues his red-hot season 31-25 over the up-and-coming Twinkie and the Philadelphia Eagles. Washington and Rob beats Tennessee and Byron 52-27. We're going to talk about these scores just a little bit later. These things are way out of hand. Cincyberg keeps the way out of hand going here. 52-41 against Nysonger. Bird smacks me in the face 38-10 against my New Orleans Saints. Buffalo and Joker continues to stay red hot on the offensive side. Found a little defense in this one. 41-27 against Massimo and the Dolphins. Zoe 51 and the D-Money led Rams 42. That might have been a CPU game. I'm not fully sure on that, but I have a bad habit of picking CPU games to talk about. Jay Glaze and the Raiders beat the red-hot Luka-led Kansas City Chiefs 45-20. Luka has been red hot since coming back from his vacation, and he continues that red hot streak, but gets stopped by the Vegas Raiders. Green Bay and Priest fall to Colin and the Bears 34-20. Randy and the Indianapolis Colts win 31-14 over Denver, who's just having a weird season. Not sure what's going on with his team. The Meek Boy led Seattle Seahawks beats Maniacs Arizona Cardinals 31-28 in an epic game that we're going to come back and talk about later. Lions, led by Tim, beat our buddy James. Jeez, I lost his name there for a second. 42-28. Big time victory there for the Lions as they continue to build towards that top seed there in the NFC. Dwayne and the Dallas Cowboys beat Big Hurt and the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-14. And then finally, wrapping up week number 12 here, Mr. Kevin and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat Little Koch and the Cleveland Browns 43-34. Man, these Tampa Bay Buccaneers can score with anybody and put up points with just about everybody. I want to come back here and talk about, where's that game? Where'd it go? I just lost it. Right here, Seattle and Arizona. This was a really good one. Seattle scoring 10 in the fourth quarter, but Arizona making it tight, scoring 14. Really, the second half belonged to the Arizona Cardinals. They just fell in an early 21-7 hole in the first half. You can see the rushing yards about the same, 78-92. Passing yards a little bit more for the Seattle Seahawks. 21 first downs to only 15 first downs, 2 turnovers to the 1 turnover. So Arizona defense not able to get a lot of those interceptions, but boy, he's been picking that up here in the second half of the season, and then falling short in this game. Really a dominance in the time of possession for Seattle. 27 minutes to 17 minutes for Arizona. What up, J Bouse? Looking at the game here, Milrow. This one's a head scratcher and shows you why Madden doesn't correlate to real life. And 20 of 22. If Jalen Milrow could ever go 20 of 22 in any game, including pickleball, he would be an all-star. But somehow in Madden, the only 2 missed plays were the 2 interceptions that he made. A 90% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 3 times. Jordan trying to keep pace here, only 212 yards, but 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 60% completion percentage. No running game to be found for any of these guys, which seems to be the theme in an all pro this cycle. 15 attempts for 62 yards. Benson 8 for 39. Guys just not getting enough running attempts. I'm going to talk about settings a little later, whether we go all Madden, stay all pro. I got a little fix I'm going to throw out there. Perry Tyson, 11 for 164, 3 touchdowns. This guy is a playmaking fool, big play guy, along a 52 in that one. McBride getting it done there for Arizona, 4 for 83. Harrison, 5 for 72. Both of those guys with a touchdown on the day. Budda Baker, 11 tackles on the day, the 1 tackle for the loss. Nolan with 3 tackles for loss. Not a lot of sacks in this game, but they spread them out there. Robinson, Hall, Sweat, Murphy, Reed, even Simpson and Birch sharing a sack there. And then finally, Joshua Williams with 2 interceptions, the free safety making plays for Arizona, and Ernest Jones the 4th getting some plays there made for Seattle. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a great one. And somehow the Meek Boy-led Seattle Seahawks squeeze away from Arizona. Man, that one kind of turned this week. We might talk about that game a little bit later. Let's take a look at week number 13 here as we get ready for some of our commercials. The Eagles and Giants, man, this one did not go as expected. Twinkie flexing on Bill, 31-12 against those New York Giants. Indianapolis Colts continue to stay red hot, 35-24 against Byron. And those Tennessee Titans, they're a lot like me. They're a complete rebuild from the ground up. Big Hurt and the Jacksonville Jaguars beat Roger and the Houston Texans 17-6. My New Orleans Saints somehow beat Pepper and his Pittsburgh Steelers 38-20. Nysonger continues to turn the corner here. An up and down season there for Mr. Nysonger, 30-13 against those Green Bay Packers and Coach Priest. Nipples gets a good run here, playing a lot of defense. Both teams played some defense in this one, beating Joker in the Buffalo Bills 24-21. The Commanders stay red hot. Mr. Rob beats Mr. Tim over here 38-32 in an epic battle. Tim and those Lions have been playing great football. I didn't hear anything about this game, so hopefully this one was clean. Rob continues to stay red hot with these Commanders. They will be a problem as we get to the playoffs. Maniac bounces back from last week's loss against Seattle against Jay Glaze, 43-33 here, Arizona. A scoring machine this cycle. They can put up the 40-plus points with the best defenses that are out there. Little Koch and the Cleveland Browns in the Buddy Bowl against Cincinnati Bengals and Denver, 24-10 in this one. Zoe and the 49ers, 48-30 over Lost Sniper and the Patriots. Trey with a 38-3 victory over Kansas City and Mr. Luca. The Rams bounce back 24-14 against Meek. Meek is usually D-Money's kryptonite in the regular season. Not so much so far this cycle. Arizona, listen to me, I apologize. Carolina and Birdman with a big-time victory over Cincyburg, 38-14 in that one. And then finally rounding out week number 13, Massimo and that Dolphins offense gets rolling here against Colin and the Bears, 43-38. Looking back here at some chat here, it was a clean game. It was played well. That's really, really good to hear. There's some really big scores in this one. And that's all building to our conversation that we're going to have a little later. But let's go ahead. Talk about that Commanders and Lions game. Lions have been red hot, but so have the Commanders, 2 of the top teams here in the NFC. And I'm hoping we get to maybe see this matchup once we get into the playoffs. 467 total yards to 466 total yards for the Lions. 49 rushing yards, though. That's going to be a problem as Tim tries to make a push here for the playoffs, and that's seeding 417 passing yards to 331 passing yards. Only 1 turnover from each of these teams. So the passing defense is letting both of these guys down. And then you can see the time of possession was pretty close, 24 minutes to almost 20 minutes there. Jaden Daniels, 370 passing yards. Fargus, 417 passing yards. 5 touchdowns combined, but 3 sacks there for the Detroit Lions defense. Samuels, 11 for 68 with 1 touchdown. Gibbs, 8 for 40 and 1 touchdown. Not a lot of guys getting that 18 to 25 carries per game. You're seeing a lot of 11 to 15 carries per game. And some of the setting changes that will happen next season, hopefully, will start to bring that back to more of a balance. Williams, 8 for 209 with a touchdown. McLaurin, 7 for 136 and 2. Big play receivers in this game, getting it done for both of these teams. Looking at the defense, or I should say the lack of defense, Madero, I don't know how to say that. 9 tackles on the game, 3 tackles for loss from Cunningham. Your sack leaders are going to be Hutchinson, Williams, and McNeil. That Lions defensive line is spectacular. And then the 1 interception coming from Caden, the will linebacker, just making plays there for the Commanders. Let's turn our attention to week number 14. What up, Zoe? Good to see you. Tim said I made a critical interception at the end. A pick 6. What up, Bill? Let's look at week number 14 here. James and the New York Giants bounce back 43 to 29 against Colin, who also has had a bit of an up and down season. Randy and the Colts win 52 to 51 against Dwayne. Yuck. I know both of these guys play really great defense, so if they can't play great defense against each other, we might be in trouble here. Little Koch with a big win over Rob and those Commanders, 28 to 24. A bit of a shocker the way that the Commanders have been playing here lately. Kevin, they 34 to 31 win on those up and coming Eagles. Man, Twinkie has been playing good football, but Kevin is red hot this season. Put it on notice, OMFL. Tampa Bay is going to be a noisemaker in that NFC playoff race. Detroit and the Lions, led by Tim, 35 to 14 in Buddy Bowl number 2 against Nicesunger, just didn't have the answers. Texans Steelers still TBD. My Saints come away with a 48 to 42 victory over Denver. We had no answer for Joe Burrow, who passed for 5 touchdowns in that game. Nipples falls to Mr. Cincyberg, 35 to 31. Those poor guys had to play this game 3 times. I would have lost my absolute mind in that one, but an epic game that came down to the very end. A lot of potential OMFL Classic games, so you guys get incentive points. Make sure that you get those submitted so we can get you your points and start to build our library once again. Meat Boy just finished off Maniac 37 to 27. But if you ask Maniac, this one was 37 to 0. Maniac was just 10 points behind, but he felt like he was dominated. Mr. Meek is a tough game, and you got to show up ready to go. And the Arizona Cardinal defense kept him in this for quite some time. The Vegas Raiders, led by Jay Glaze, 31 to 24 over Massimo and the Dolphins. Trey continues his red hot streak there in the AFC, 42 to 10 over Jay Glaze. Something's happened here to the Broncos in the second half of the season. Carolina continues to flex his offensive muscles, 49 to 10. Bird just don't know when to back off. He just keeps going. He just zones out, turns that mind off, and just keeps hanging up points. Bird, I love you like a brother, but man, karma's going to come back to get you. 49 to 10 over D Money. Jacksonville and Tennessee playing to a close one here. Big Hurt comes out on top, 20 to 17 over Byron. And then wrapping up week number 14, kind of wrapping up. We got one game left. Luka and the Kansas City led Chiefs, 34 to 28 over the Patriots, and lost Sniper. I want to come talk about this Jacksonville and Tennessee game. 2 guys I don't get to talk a lot about. 2 turnovers. They were both from Jacksonville that kept the Tennessee Titans in this one. You can see he scored 14 points there in the fourth quarter. Just wasn't enough. A slow start for both these guys, a 6-3 lead. Going into halftime, Jacksonville comes out in the third quarter, scores 7. That late push there from Tennessee was going to fall just short. No running game there for Tennessee, only 45 yards running the ball, 248 yards passing the ball for Jacksonville, 17 to 15 on the first downs, the 2 turnovers, 5 third down conversions. So both these guys either didn't have a lot of third downs, which I don't think is the case. I think just didn't convert on a lot of those third downs. And you see the time of possession pretty close there, 24 minutes to almost 20 minutes. Shane Gaffney, the 4th-year quarterback for Tennessee Titans, 208 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions there, 55% completion percentage. Lawrence, 248, 53% completion percentage, with the 2 interceptions. Tootin the OMFL leader in rushing last season. Doesn't look like he'll get there this season. 18 for only 69 yards, 1 touchdown on the day. Kaufman, 9 for 96 with a touchdown. Hunter, 5 for 80 and a touchdown. Then finally, looking at some defense, Delgado, 11 tackles on the day. Your tackle for loss leader is going to be Walker. Jacksonville defense has a lot of playmakers over there. Walker also tossed in a sack and a half. Onyemata with a sack. Armstead with half of a sack. And then finally, your interceptions coming from Brownlee Jr. and Baker to keep the Tennessee Titans close in this one. Both those guys are trying to rebuild that team, and we were down to 1 game before we get to advance to week number 15. All right, after we come back from this commercial, we're going to break down the playoff races that we have going on. I'm going to look at Bird. I say board, I say bird. I'm trying to find the word Bill. Bill is the word I'm trying to find. It's been a long day. We're going to roll right through this. We're going to talk to Mr. Bill. Actually, we're just going to look at Bill's stuff that he's posted for us. Speaking of which, Bill, take this one away.
Leaky pipes, clogged drains, forget about it. Call Tony the Wrench Romano, New York's most connected plumber. Listen, I don't just fix pipes. I make problems disappear. Fast, quiet, clean. Just like Norna taught me. And maybe a couple uncles. Licensed, bonded, respected. No job too big, no secret tunnel too small. You can call someone else. Maybe they show up. You call me, I make sure it gets done. We don't just stop the leaks, we stop the talking. Now serving all 5 boroughs, and nobody asks questions.
Nana was a good woman. I don't care what anybody says about her. Now, what you have on the screen is how Madden has this playing out, but I am going to read what Bill has because Bill's on top of it. He is our OMFL playoff expert here. So far, the number 1 seed is going to be the Chargers, though the Browns are fighting there. Both of these teams are 11-2 so far. They have the Chargers as the number 1 seed. The Browns is the number 2 seed. A couple more weeks of games left to go here. Colts are going to be the number 3 seed, sitting at 9-4. The Bills, the number 4 seed. I think I said 4 seed with the Colts. I meant 3 seed. 4 seed are going to be the Bills at 7-6. So there's a bit of a cliff there because of the division leaders that we have. Wild card number 1 so far are going to be the Ravens at 9-4. The Raiders going to be the number 2 wild card at 8-5. And then finally, James and the Jets rounding out the AFC playoff picture at 7-6. Technically, still alive. Going to be the Patriots at 5-7. It's a bit of a stretch. He's going to need to go on a run here. Jaguars at 6-7. I feel like they maybe have a slight bigger chance than the Patriots. Steelers at 4-8, Broncos at 4-9. I think it's pretty much over for both of those teams as I get a DM from Mr. Bill. Bill, if you were here listening, it is that specific play. Now, if I can get proof that other plays that do that also glitch out cornerbacks, then I am more than willing to look at it. I personally experienced that play and then had other plays or other teams tell me that play is ran by a specific owner a lot, and it was glitched out more often than it wasn't. And for whatever reason, the cornerback just stops following the receiver and goes after the quarterback, and he's wide open every single time. So it's just a play that the board felt like we needed to ban. I hate banning plays. It sucks, but like there's weird stuff going on. And I know it opens a can of worms of like how many weird plays are going to fall. Anyway, it is what it is right now. But if there's a case to be made, I'm more than willing to have the conversation. So that's how he sees this one playing out. Again, I think the AFC is the AFC. What we might see is some playoff seeding changes. We've got a couple of teams definitely in the hunt here. You know, what happens with the Bills division? I guess technically there's still like some players in the hunt there. Let's go division by division really quick. Let's get over here to standings. We're going to go AFC North. Again, Browns have this one pretty much sewed up. Ravens will be one of those wild card teams. Colts have this one, I think, sewed up. Can the Jaguars make a push there from one of those wild card spots? TBD. Bills, Jets, Patriots, technically, I think that one tie is going to come back to haunt them, though. Jets and Bills, though, still very much in it. There could be some flip-flopping that's still happening there. And then finally, Chargers have this one wrapped up. Can the Raiders make a push to really solidify themselves in this running? It's going to be Bills, Jets, Raiders, like what's happening between those three teams as we come down to those three playoff spots. Can the Patriots make a run? I think it's set. I think what we have from Bill is set. Chargers, Browns, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Raiders, Jets. I don't think anybody else can make a run. I think what we're going to see is just a slight playoff mixture and seeing who actually falls where here. That's going to set up for some really fun matchups. I feel like sometimes that number one seed can be a bit haunted and not everybody can make a run there. So TBD, let's see if this is a good thing for Trey, who's playing some of the best football we've ever seen him play, or is this going to change? I'm also very interested on the announcements of coaching trees and what does that change or not change. Let's see, let's see. I don't know. Trey says next week's Raiders, Chargers win the division with the win. Yeah, you've got that division locked up. Raiders are going to need to go on a run to solidify themselves. I think some of the fun matchups here, Jets, Browns is going to be a fun one. Bills and Ravens, that's going to be a fun one. Raiders have an uphill battle against Randy. He's a very, very good team. But that second divisional round, that's going to be some good matchups depending on who can win in this wild card round. I'm not calling it yet. I got plenty of time to let this play out. But I do think the higher seeds will move on, and that's going to set up some really fun matchups here in the AFC. Let's take a look at the NFC, and I feel like it's pretty much going to be sewed up as well, but there are going to be a couple more teams that have the potential to still be alive there. Cowboys are at 12-1. Feels like we're getting really close to that one being wrapped up in that number one seed going through Dallas. Buccaneers at 10-3, the number 2 seed. Lions at 10-3, the number 3 seed. The 49ers 8-5, the number 4 seed, but he's been falling back here. So still definitely in the hunt. The Seahawks still technically in the hunt, but he did have a loss today, are going to be the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks are going to have an opportunity to go on a run here, but the head-to-head might come back to haunt him there. Commanders are the number 1 wildcard seed at 10-3. Falcons, number 2 wildcard seed at 10-3. The number 3 wildcard seed, the Panthers, at 9-4. You can just see how strong the NFC really is again this season. I feel like that's a rinse and repeat. Doesn't always mean that the NFC can win the bowl game, but they are super strong. You're seeing a lot of 10-plus win teams in the NFC. You could be an 11, 12-win team and not win, and I mean not make it to the playoffs here in the NFC. I don't know if that can be said often for the AFC. It's been said before, but not often. The NFC, I don't know why. Just so many strong teams. Still in the running, you got the Giants at 8-5, Seahawks at 8-5, Cardinals 6-7, Eagles at 6-7. Those latter two teams are going to have to go on a heck of a run. It felt like the Eagles had turned a corner. They have a couple of losses here in the last few weeks. Cardinals too. That defense it seems to be turning it on here in the second half, but it might be a little too too late. You know what I mean? Whereas the Giants and Seahawks continue sort of their up and down season, whereas the Panthers feel like, man, they've gotten really hot, and that's going to be hard to catch as that number 3 seed. And then what happens? Falcons, Panthers, Bucks. Can anybody catch the Buccaneers? Does Kevin hit a stumbling block here at the end? I think all three of those NFC South teams make it in. Let's look here at what we see from Madden. We're going to have some fun matchups. Panthers, Buccaneers. That's not good for Mr. Kevin. I think anytime you have to play a team that you've faced twice already, it's very hard to try to beat them a third time. I think Bill and his, listen to me, Bird and his Panthers are getting red hot. They're playing really effective offense. He just put up 49 points against those Atlanta Falcons. I just think that they are red hot right now. Tim and the Lions, scoring machine, but he's playing one of the top scoring machines we've ever seen in Cincyberg and the Falcons. And then what's up with the 49ers? Commanders have been super hot this season. 49ers, a bit of a lull, not sure where to pinpoint them. What happens in the playoffs? Does D-Money turn it on and go on a run here, or does he turn it off and just let Rob and those Commanders continue to rock and roll? TBD. Let's see what happens. I think I keep calling him Rob. It might be Ron. I might have that wrong. Please forgive me, Rob, Ron. Let me look it up real quick because I feel like I'm saying the wrong thing and I don't mean to and don't want to. Names are really important to me and I want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. Had a lot of long conversations with our buddy. I thought I had this. This is super fun to watch me just stare at my screen. I think it's Ron. I think I've talked myself out of Rob. I think it's Ron. Either way, he'll correct me, and I apologize up front. It is Rod. Okay. I think I called Rob and Ron, so I wasn't even close, Bill. There you go. I totally screwed this up. Sorry, Rod. It's been a long day. I'll just blame that. It's my fault. Anyway, I think these are going to be fun matchups. Everything runs through the Dallas Cowboys there. What happens when people get to Dallas? We've seen that go his way. We've seen that become very hard to overcome. We've also seen him win a championship here. And so I think Dwayne is going to be tough. He's going to be facing some offensive powerhouses. Tampa Bay, Panthers, Lions, all these teams, every single one of them in the NFC can hang 50 on just about anybody. So it'll be fun to see how this plays out here in the NFC. Either way, I think we've got some really fun matchups, and I plan on trying to call as many of these as I humanly can. Still TBD on that. We'll see when these get there, and we'll see if we can't call some of these games, but I do think it's going to be a lot of fun to call. All right, when we come back, we're going to open up the OMFL mailbag. And after the OMFL mailbag, I'm going to talk about the future of settings and sliders and the changes that you've seen announced recently, why we went with those changes, and all those fun things that we're going to be talking about. So we'll be right back after this message from our buddy, Mr. Maniac.
Howdy there, y'all. Have you ever had trouble staying fresh in your Madden game? Has your FPR really stunk it up? Do you reek from sweaty gameplay? If you answered yes to any of these, we can help. We are proud to tell you about a great new product. We call it Dream Bean. Yes, that's right. Dream Bean works hard to get rid of stale Madden gameplay. Penetrates deep into the pores to reach those stubborn, hard-to-reach FPR issues. Turn that Madden reek into Madden chic with Dream Bean. State-of-the-art design that gets the job done. We use all natural ingredients to create the best-smelling, cleaning FPR product on the market today. So don't delay. Call now and get yourself Dream Bean clean. Operators are standing by. Call 188-FPR-CLEAN. Call now.
I appreciate Maniac for those. There's supposed to be one coming from Dwayne and Tim. I haven't heard from them in a bit. I need to check in on them and see where they are, but supposed to be getting some new ones that we can do. It should be some fun to add some new ones. So here's where we are. Oh, no. Actually, let's answer the question here. Randy says, we only have one mailbag question, though. Bill, if you post your question in a DM in there, I think you should get credit for that one as well. You're in a situation where you need to get a stop to win the game or go down the field and score to win the game. What do you prefer and why? Man, that's a good question. I think I always enjoy the stop. I think there's nothing better than just smashing the brakes, smashing somebody's hope, getting that last pick, getting that big stop. I've also seen that go the wrong way a whole lot of times. More times it goes against you than it goes for you, at least in my experience as a really bad OMFL coach here. I do like that, though. I'd rather play defense. Let me go after the quarterback. Am I playing man? Am I playing zone? Am I using the middle linebacker? Am I playing safety? Am I playing underneath? Like, just the chess match game that goes there. I would say in a lot of my experiences, though, you see a lot of verticals. And I feel like that's sort of the cheap way to go, but I get it. We're playing a video game. Do what works best for you. I think that is the most fun. That's the thing that I would choose. It's also in me to be an offensive coach, even though I'm terrible in offense. I don't know what happened the last 3 cycles. I've been just really bad. At heart, I'm a receiver. At heart, I like to make the plays on offense. And I do think it's easier to play offense when you need to go down and get a score, especially when you have playmakers, and you can put a lot of stuff in place to hit your playmakers and go and make plays. And so I'd say it's probably easier to play offense, but I find it better to play defense. Let me know in the chat, what are you going to do? You're going to go and play defense, or you're going to want to go and play some offense? All right, one more commercial since we only had one quick mailbag question. When we come back, we're going to talk about the future of slider settings, coaching trees. Trey helped kind of spur that discussion, and I think they're a good discussion. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that. And Birdman, if you're still listening, I figured out that your commercial, because of the music that you place behind it, gets me popped for community, what's it called? Copyright. I get copyright infringed every time I play your commercials. So I'm going to have to be a little bit more selective with your commercials. So we'll be right back after this message from our buddy at Goal Sheet. Appreciate my buddy Lost Sniper over the Gold Sheet, man. He's created some things for this community that, like, I don't think we understand how amazing that stuff is. Like that, I am blown away. It doesn't get nearly enough credit and attention as it should. Maniac, that's a really great question. I tried to get Maniac on the show before we got going here, but it was late in the game, and he didn't have time. But yeah, Maniac, that idea, and again, posted in the mailbag, I'll make sure to give you credit for it, but that idea came from me thinking through ways to create a little bit more community. It actually spurred from, if you play or have watched anything from streamers, the new game, why am I forgetting the name of this new game? Arc Raiders. Geez, boy, I had a brain fart there. If you watch Arc Raiders and the streamers that play that, they had something called the Great War. And all these streamers kind of picked sides, and they played this one day of like this game where there was this Great War. And I was thinking, like, that could be a fun way to do some kind of holiday tournament. We tried this many years ago with a 3-on-3 game that they used to have in Madden. I don't think they have it anymore. And it never really gained traction, but the idea would be, could we create something that would incentivize internal games amongst each other, would incentivize some team captains, some team atmosphere, some kind of culture creating opportunities. And it might be something I put together. It seemed to get some positive feedback, so we have to see, but it seemed to get some positive feedback, and it might be something that I can implement. There's some details that make it funky. We would need, at least 9 to 12 people to make it worth doing. Maybe I can adjust and make it, tag teams, but I was sort of pulling from wrestling, pulling from what I was watching them and inspired by them with Arc Raiders, and trying to create something to create some team building and some fun games. I don't know. I just thought it would be fun. Maybe we play really short games like, 3-minute quarters or 2-minute quarters where it's like offensive, no, you can run no huddle, just score, but, use our normal no switch rules, that kind of stuff. I don't know. Just trying to think of some fun way, get us playing, build some positive culture. I feel like I have lacked this cycle because of real life things going on, of keeping the culture really important. And I feel like I was trying to come up with something to do so. So that's where my idea came from. Got a message from Trey 4 or 5 days ago now about some coaching tree stuff. And the problem with coaching tree is we just don't. There's no way to fully test how this would be in real life. What settings, what we allow, what we don't allow. And what we found now 3 seasons deep into this cycle is the stacking that can happen and the ability to earn coaching points for teams that are really, really good are too much. Tim sent me his coaching tree. I'm going to pull it up really quick because he's a winning team. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, including the trainer, 10 not including the trainer, abilities that he can implement every single season. He has every single one of them except for the trainer at Platinum. So he's getting 6 coaching Platinum abilities added to his team every week, plus 4 playbook abilities added every week, plus 2 trainer abilities added any week. And so you could stack those to have upwards of 14, 15, 16 positive attributes on one attribute added, whether it's throwing power, throwing accuracy, block shedding, whatever you decide to stack. And that just makes building a team and building players irrelevant. And we just didn't know that. We didn't know how fast you'd be able to build. We didn't know how these things would work together. I have a hard time believing that it lets you stack that, but we don't have proof that it doesn't work that way. And so we got to do something. And it sucks. I know you guys have earned it. You have, purchased these things. It is what it is. And it just sucks, but there's no way to take it back. Also, normally, beyond this Madden, the other Madden cycles, we're usually on slow. So you are earning it at a faster pace than you would in the past. And so if there's any sort of slap on the back for me, it's like, hey, you're getting more than you probably should. I think in future Maddens, if coaching trees stay, we now have this learning. We know what to allow, what not to allow, and we can slow down the pace in which teams are earning their coaching XP. I just think it's a bad thing for the balance of the league that teams like the Lions can have 12 XP bonuses, however you want to say it, added to their team week in and week out. And you can really take up 78 overall player and have them boosted up like a 90 overall player just from your weekly stuff. That just doesn't make sense. And it makes team building unnecessary. And so I have one little thing I'm trying to push through from the board, but currently it's set up where you get 1 platinum or gold, you get 1 silver, and you get as many bronzes as you, or I'm sorry, 2 silver. So 1 platinum, try this again. 1 master or platinum. I'm not even close to mastering anything, so I'm a little foggy on the mastering, but you get 1 master or platinum, choose, not both, you get 1. 1 gold, 2 silver, and as many bronzes as you want. It's still going to allow you to get boosts, still going to allow you to do some stuff, but you can't stack any of those things. So you're going to have to plan out accordingly. And what I have currently is that if you have the trainer one where you can, I'm sorry. I'm confusing what I'm trying to get past and what we do have. What I currently have past is trainers don't count to that. So you can have platinum, 2 platinum trainers or whatever mastered. If you can master trainers, you can have those added and it not count towards your 1 platinum / master, 1 gold, 2 silver, as many bronze. It doesn't count towards those restrictions. What I'm trying to get past is anything that is not an attribute addition. So it doesn't go towards throwing power or block shed. It's not an attribute boost. Will not count towards your total. So you can have as many of those as you want. Training, trainer, all of that stuff. Any of the coaching trees that are in there that you would like to add that don't add to your attributes, you can have as many of those as you want. And when it comes to attributes, we're going to go one master / platinum, 1 gold, 2 silver, as many bronze. I think that's more than fair. allows a lot of you who've paid for those things to keep them. What up, Daniel? And it brings some stability, some fairness. I think that's still going to be too much, but for this cycle, it's going to be what it is. And I've already given in on the abilities and having superstar abilities turned on, and I went with that because they're not guaranteed. I still feel like they're gimmicky, and now we've got an extra gimmicky thing. And yes, it's super cool and neat, but it's throwing off the balance, and it's separating the floor and the ceiling too greatly. And if you start off slow or have a team to rebuild, it's really, really hard to keep up in a 32-man user league. In this league, in the way that we play football and have our FPR set up, it's really hard to catch up to teams that are already really good. So I think this is a good, fair balance. That has not been approved yet. I'm waiting for the board to look at that and tell me what they think. Those will be announced hopefully in the next 24 hours or maybe even before I leave for New York. That also has launched us into the talk of scores and games and settings. Guys, these settings are just too easy. Guys are putting up 50, 60 points, maybe not 60. I don't know if we've seen a 60 game, but we've seen 40, 50 pretty often, pretty standard in this league. 100% Trey, and I don't have a problem with that. I just because you earn it doesn't mean you should be able to use it in a fair league. And Trey said in the chat, my only problem is that if you keep doing good, you're going to not be able to use abilities. Yep. That's your problem to figure out. Now you have to game plan. Now there's some strategy. Not, I've got a bunch of points. I can use them and just platinum everything and I'm set it and forget it for the rest of my life. That's not ever the goal here in the OMFL. So personally, I think that's a good thing. And for next Madden, if all this stays, we will not only slow down Coach XP, but we will make it even harder to make you decide what you're going to use. I just think it's too easy. It's too much. No one can make a debate that adding plus 12, plus 15 to any attribute is a good thing. It's mind-blowing that that's a real thing that we've allowed here. We can't, outside of, I don't know. The policing is always the hard part. Let's look. Let's go Coach Central. No, this isn't gonna let me see it. I guess there is no real way outside of streaming. And man, maybe that's what we have to do. Maybe we have to ask everybody as you go to get in your game, quickly stream what your game plan is for that week. Can you even do that? Let's see. How would you do this? Practice. Yeah, this shows it. So maybe that's what we have to do. We have to be like, you got to show it right before you play. And by then it's it's too late to set. Right stick on the home screen. Does that show it? Oh yeah, it does. Sorry. It's right there. So yeah, maybe we just ask people to right stick over and show that real quick before they play. And literally it takes 2 seconds to do. It is what it is. Oh, yep. You're right, Trey. And as a coach, you got to figure that out. Again, I think it is what it is. Let me read this real quick. Sorry, guys. This is going to be really quick. Sorry. I may have to come back to that. Anyway, that may be what we add. I know that's going to be a big ask, and I know some of you are going to drive me nuts because you're going to watch a stream and you're like, I didn't show it, and I think you cheated, and it's all that stuff. I hate all this. But I don't think anybody can make a case for adding plus 15. And to see like a team like me who hasn't won a lot, I've got like 4 things unlocked. Tim has 12. The balance of that is just too big. We got to bring a little bit more balance to that. Unfortunately, there's no way to really control that. Anyway, it opened up the conversation. I'm going to wrap this up with what do we do about settings? The scores are too high. You're all going nuts about defense not playing very well. What up, Hovind? What do we do? The only thing we can do is look at all Madden. That's really all we can do. I did not come with all of these myself. I'm not going to show you the franchise setting. It's basically a set to all Madden. Here's some changes I'm pushing for. Number 1, we're going back to the old time clock. That's me. It's 100% me. What we currently have is a me thing. I was trying to make it to where when you get to you call a play, you get to the line, you run the stupid play. You don't have time to make 5 adjustments. You don't have time to do a bunch of weird stuff. You don't have time to think through your audibles. It's like call a freaking play, get to the line, run the play. It clearly has affected the run game. It's clearly affected some of the balance. And maybe that's why scores have inflated, or maybe the scores would be worse if we had the old play clock settings. I'm going back 9 minutes, play clock run down to 20 seconds. It's what we ran all last cycle, and that seemed to work really well. So that I'm pushing to go back to that. The other thing is testing all Madden. This franchise is set up right now. Some of you are already in here. Because this was set up before we started our cycle. So if you were already in here, you're still in here. If you need an invite, let me know. I'll get you an invite out. I already got one out to Bill, but anybody else who wants one, let me know. Come jump in here with me. That invite is out. The other changes were some slider changes that I made after doing some research. They're not all from me. I definitely need to go find the guy's name and give him credit. I don't have time to test all the different things out. Like it took me 3 days to test just the XP sliders. Like it was crazy. Much less gameplay sliders that we tested. Much less coaching trees. And like you can't test all of this unless this was my full-time job and I played no other games and all I did was this. I'm sorry, I do other things. I'm not going to test all of this. Also, I'm a pretty staunch believer in every update completely changes the game. So if you have these radical slider sets that are really set to 75 and 12 and 100 and 20, every time the update happens, you're going to have to go back to the drawing board and retest everything. I don't have the space, time, or energy to do that. And so I believe in staying in a 10 XP gap or 10 point gap. Nothing below 40 if you can avoid it. Nothing higher than 60. Stay in that 10 point gap. And the updates shouldn't radically change how the game plays. And that does mean you have to like give up on some things. You have to give in for some things. And it may not play absolutely pinpoint perfectly, but the game is the game. And this is the game that we all choose to play. I can't make it pinpoint perfect. I am not a coder, and I'm not doing these radical, crazy slider shifts so that every update breaks the game mid-season and everybody's pissed off at me because the game isn't playing the same. It just can't do it. So here, after doing some research, here's where I set or am pushing to set on the gameplay sliders. 35 on the quarterback accuracy. That's because we're going all Madden. It's going to be a little bit better, a little bit more fine-tuned. One of the guys out there is pushing to go competitive. We did that many cycles ago. I'm not there yet. I know that means we will have these random crazy things happen, but I view that as a good thing. I know it's frustrating. I know it's weird and it can frustrate you, but the random throws, the random good games, the random bad games, like that stuff should happen from time to time. And I think it's what we should do. Sorry, my boss is texting me, and so we're just answering about a trip or a business trip tomorrow. The good thing, if we go all Madden, it pretty much, a lot of people out there are saying keep it default. So you can see everything is default. I have no clue how this will play. The CPU sliders, one of the guys, again, that I watched, he said 25 robo perfect quarterbacks no matter what. He has his set at 0, which means a lot of flutter throws. I'm trying 10 just to see if you do have to play a CPU game, do we not have it super, super easy, but also not have robo quarterbacks? Sorry. Still answering these. Everything else for 50 until we get to kicking. I did lower the kicking power. I feel like it's too strong. I did lower the kicking accuracy, TBD. This might need to go to 50. Punt power a little bit. Punt accuracy the same. Kicking power is at 50. Injuries are at 25. I feel like this is going to be too high. Currently, let's go look. I think in the current CFM, they're at like 17. Let's look really fast. And then I need to wrap this up. God, these menus. And that's improved menus. Can you imagine that? Where are we at? These are the current all-pro sliders, by the way. Oh, no, they're at 25. So 25, 60, 50. So that's going to be some other changes that we're making if we go to all Madden. Again, this test is up. We need to play games. You need to play 3 games minimum before you give me feedback. I need to get my 3 games in. I got to go to New York for a couple days. When I get back, I'll get my 3 games in, and we'll test this out and see what we think. Trey, I will get to your question here in just a second. Let me finish covering these really quick. So we got it at 25, 60, 40. That was the other change to go all pro or all Madden. Lower that a little bit. He had his really, really low, like some crazy low one. I think it was at 15 or 10. A lot of people are either doing crazy low or super high, 75, 80. I'm going to try 40 and see how that feels. Sorry, y'all. All right. The rest of the stuff are just minor changes. This sort of is very close to what we already run. These are mainly the precipitation stuff that happens. Here's the big change that I don't love, and that's why I'm testing it. He has offsides, false start, holding. I think maybe there was one other. I think it was a legal block in the back, all at 99. I'm not doing a legal block in the back at 99. You guys will kill me. He has that set to stop the easy run, is what he says. I'd much rather lower run block than set this at 99. I have no clue how this is going to play. Face mask is at 0 because he says it tackles better. Defensive pass interference at 0. We already don't get it called unless you user it. So that's my worry here, is that users that play safety, cornerback, you're going to bump guys all over and we're going to have complaints. But he says that overall it covers better. I have very high doubts that these will stay. I'm going to play 1 game with this and see what it feels like. My assumption is I'm going to put these all back at 50. I'd much rather adjust sliders than adjust penalty. I just feel like now you don't know, is the game playing this way because of sliders on penalties or sliders on your players? Now you don't know where you're chasing. I'm not a big supporter of this. I'm willing to try it though to see. I have a feeling these are all going to go back to 50. I did also turn on roughing the kicker, but running into the kicker, I turned off. Roughing the passer at 25. This is something I'm willing to try as well. Supposedly you get better pass rush here. We'll see how that plays out. This is what's in the test. This is what's being tested. Go jump in. Let me know what you feel. Let me know what you think. You got to play 3 games before you can let me know. And that's where we're going to be at. Even if we don't go all Madden, we got to make some more slider changes, because putting up 45 on average points to 55 points, that's just way too many points. And teams need to be able to learn how to play some defense. So that's where we're at. Really quick, Trey says, quick question about the abilities. If a coach ability doesn't boost any attributes, I covered that, Trey. I will cover it one more time. So currently, it counts. I have something out to the board to say, if you have any ability, coach or trainer, that doesn't boost abilities, it will not count towards your totals. That may mean we have to lower the totals, but it may mean we don't. So that would mean if you have anything that doesn't boost an ability, you can have as many as you want. If it boosts an ability, you can have only one platinum / master, which send me a picture of your masters, Trey, if you have them. I'm not even close to that, so I have no clue. One platinum, one gold, 2 silver, the rest bronze. I think that's more than fair. And we only have the one banned coaching ability. So that's where we're at. All right, that's a lot. We've talked through a lot. Kevin just randomly said attributes. What did I say? Did I say abilities? I think you all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I don't want to sit here and listen to them try to give me some more. I think you guys see where we're going. Just trying to bring some fairness to the league. Yeah, I don't even have a trainer. Technically I have a trainer. I have no ability to add abilities to the trainer. A lot of times using the word abilities, because I hired and fired a coach this offseason. I think everybody who did got the glitch where you can no longer set trainer abilities. It takes it away from you. So know that if you have an ability to hire, fire a coach, you will lose your trainer abilities more likely than not. I still know what you're trying to say, Kevin. I probably rambled, but I think you all know what I'm trying to say. If you're boosting attributes, then you can't stack them, and I'm trying to limit how many you can do because I think it's way unfair. The bronze is fine, but you start getting silver, gold, platinum, and master, it's craziness. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be complicated. You shouldn't be forced with tough choices, especially if you're a winning team. And it should give lesser teams a bit more of an advantage than the trainee teams. And again, I'm pushing for as many non-attribute boost as you want. And if you have attribute boost, they're going to be limited. I'm talked out. I'm tired. I'm getting out of here. I love you. I might be back tonight. I'm supposed to be back tonight to play Big Hurt. So if you're around, come hang out with me. It'll probably be super late tonight, 10, 11 o'clock Central Time. And that's with a 4 a.m. flight. So I hate Big Hurt for that. But I get it. He's working too. And he's trying to make a living. So it's not his fault. I'm being totally tongue-in-cheek when I say that. I'm out of here. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. All right. We'll see you in the next one.
Smash that like and subscribe.